Think you know the Bible? Think again. Tune in as Rabbi Epstein and Tom Levine reveal the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary in Breakneck Through the Bible by Torch Dallas. Each episode may cover just a few verses, but don't let that fool you. Get ready to learn the Bible at a breakneck pace.
Just before we begin, still in Parshas Lech Lecha in the Stone Chumash on page 73, chapter 17, verse 3, you and I were talking after our last podcast, and you had a bit of a clarification that you wanted to make.
Yes, it's actually not even clarified. I think I said something incorrect last week, so I just want to go ahead and just state the point. What I said last week was that Sarah had complained to Abraham that he was holding back children. That's not true. That was a mistake. And in fact, it's actually interesting. Sarah couldn't have children. She knew she was living in the land of Israel for 10 years. She didn't have children. And so she, on her own, came to Avraham with divine inspiration and said, I want you to marry Hagar. Right, on her own. She doesn't blame Avraham, nothing. She just says, I want you to marry Hagar. We spoke about that.
Yes. That
God gave her the prophecy, because that way then sort of to get her buy-in. Because if Avraham would come to her and say that it would hurt more, she was the one that was instigating it. And then we find by Rebecca can't have children, and Rebecca just keeps on praying, doesn't offer anyone as a replacement. And then we said by Rachel comes and complains to Jacob. Okay, and it's interesting, right? Different ways that they handled it, right? Rebecca doesn't offer a handmaid because Isaac was offered up as a complete offering, and since he's what's called an Ola Tamima, a complete offering, he couldn't marry anyone else. And then how Sarah, on her own, offered Hagar, and how Rachel comes to Jacob. So last week we said that really was Avram's fault because he hadn't become perfect yet, so he couldn't have Isaac. That's also true. That's true. But the part that
Sarah brought out as a failing of Avram is not
true. Yeah.
Okay. So, was it a mistake that Sarai offered Hagar to Abram?
No, not at all. That was divine inspiration. That was from God.
Okay.
And
even though Hashem knew that he was in the not so distant future going to facilitate Sarah giving birth, he still gave the divine inspiration for Sarah to go ahead and offer up Hagar.
Right, and create Ishmael.
Yes.
Right, which seems that there's a piece that Ishmael, and we're going to get to that.
Okay.
That Ishmael needs to be around, and we'll see how when Avram hears that he's going to have a child, he said, "Well, what about Ishmael?" So we're gonna get more into that. We're going to get more into that.
Excellent.
But there's a need for Ishmael is the bottom line.
Yes.
Now, it could be the need is dwindling away.
Well, yeah, at some point, when any need is satisfied, it's no longer a need.
Right. Now, also remember, Ishmael does teshuvah before he dies.
Yes.
So that's
before the binding of Isaac.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So he does right. Most of his life, he lives righteously.
We'll talk about that. That bears additional queries.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
So chapter 3, verse 3.
Chapter 17, verse 3, page 73.
Abram threw himself upon his face, and God spoke to him, saying, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You shall be a father of multiple of nations. Your name shall no longer be called Abram, but you shall be called Avraham. For I have made you the father of multiple of nations.
Let's continue reading and
Okay.
we'll go back.
I will make you most exceedingly fruitful, and make nations of you, and kings shall descend from you. I will ratify my covenant between me and you, and between your offspring and you, throughout their generations, as an everlasting covenant, to be a God to you and your offsprings after you. And I will give to you and to your offsprings after you the land of your sojourns, the whole of the land of Canaan, as an everlasting possession, and I shall be a God to them.
Okay, good. So now let's go back. So now God, right, appears to Avraham. He says, "I am El Shaddai." Right, he uses those two names of God.
Mm-hmm.
Go in front of me and be perfect. And we talked about that by Avram. It says, "Go in front of me." By Noach, it only says, "Go with me." Right, the difference of going in front of God is sort of being a trailblazer, as opposed to only going together with God, which is what Noach did. And then God goes and says, "And I'm giving my covenant between me and you, right? And I'm going to
Should be faithful and multiple of nations."
right. And then I will increase. I'll set my covenant between me and you, and I will increase you most exceedingly." Avram hears this, and what does he do? Verse 3, and Avram falls on his face. And now God speaks to him as follows. Right? So now, two things. Why does Avram fall on his face?
Out of awe, out of humility, I like the word awe.
Right. So again, right, from awe of the divine presence.
Yes.
Now also he was uncircumcised. And since he was uncircumcised, he could not remain standing when God spoke to him. Okay.
Now, is it significant, Rabbi? And I know the Torah is not a history book. The time between the covenant of the parts and this covenant.
So it's actually 29 years difference. The covenant of the parts was Avram was 70, and here Avram is 99.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so it's a 29-year gap. And here Avram finally goes ahead and gets complete control over his entire body. Right, the last five organs, right, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, and the place of circumcision. He retains control over those last 5, and now God says, "This is what I want you to do."
Now, just prior to this, Abram understood the Torah.
Correct.
So he knew he needed to be circumcised.
Correct.
Why did he wait so long?
Oh, gewaldig. Amazing. Great question. I want you to know. I'm going to tell you when I got this answer to this question. I was in high school. And I remember talking with my Rosh Hashiva about it. And if I'm not mistaken, okay, now we're going back a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going over 40 years ago. He showed me a shoot Einig Yantif. Shas V'Tshuvas questions and answers from the Einig Yantif, who says the following answer to this question. And he says that you see the difference. What is greater? When you're commanded to do the mitzvah and you do the mitzvah, or when you're not commanded and you do it? Which one is greater?
When you do it and you're not commanded to do it.
Ah, good. So I always used to think like that as well. The Talmud says otherwise.
Really?
The Talmud says, "Gadol mitzvah va'isa, me'ene mitzvah va'isa." It's greater somebody who's commanded and does it, somebody who's not commanded. And again, let me just help you out, because we always think like, oh, you get extra credit. Of course it's better.
Yeah. Initiative, self-starter.
Yeah, look at that, self-starter, look what you did. So if God says, "Tom, I want you to do this," Bensi, whatever you do, it's okay. which one's more important to God?
The one where he's commanding you to do
Command you to do it. So that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, there's also a spiritual reason, because when you are commanded to do a commandment, guess who doesn't want you to do that commandment?
The evil
inclination. So you have a much harder time to do it because the evil inclination is trying to hold you back. So if you're commanded to do it, the evil inclination is saying, we're going to stop you from doing it. And so since the evil inclination is saying that, so then at that point in time, so then you go ahead and when the evil inclination is trying to stop you, so then you get more credit for doing it.
Okay. I like that. However, when you look at Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the brothers, all the way prior to Sinai, other than circumcision, were they not better off not doing any of the mitzvahs? Until they got commanded to do it.
Very good. So this is what the Einig Yantif says. From 40 some odd years ago. He says, all the other commandments, if you do them now, it does not stop you from doing them once you get commanded. So the problem with circumcision, it's a one time. It's once and done.
It doesn't grow back.
It doesn't grow back, and you don't get to do it again. So what happens is that they were going to be able to do the mitzvah of circumcision once. So the question was, do they go and do it right away, or do they wait until they're commanded and therefore get the full bang for the buck of being commanded and doing the mitzvah when they're commanded?
Good.
Says Einig Yantif, that's why they waited for the mitzvah of circumcision. If they slaughtered an animal when they were 20, when they got the commandment to do the mitzvah, so then they'll slaughter it then. And now they get both, right? But circumcision, you only get to do it once. So since it's a mitzvah it's a once and done deal, so therefore they waited until they were commanded.
Good.
That's a great question. I love the question, Tom.
Yeah,
Keep it up.
Yeah, good.
And that's why. And then I was trying to think: are there any other commandments that are once and done?
Well, so that was what was going through my mind. I was thinking, you can't divorce the same person, but you can, because you could remarry and divorce and remarry. So those two commandments can be done multiple times.
Right, and therefore, and also, by the way, right. So, like, let's say he marries Sarai, and now he gets the mitzvah to marry her. So all to fulfill that mitzvah was he would just take a ring and say, "Now I'm remarrying you now on the higher level." Right? He doesn't even necessarily need to divorce her. He just say, "I'm now going to do it again." He wouldn't maybe make a blessing. Like, that'd be an interesting question, whether you would then make a blessing on it as opposed to not making the blessing beforehand, or you made the blessing once. Right? But I was trying to think of any other.
There's one that comes to my mind. To wipe out Amalek. Once they're wiped out, you can't wipe them out again.
That's very good.
Now, we're still working on that one. It is a mitzvah, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Sure is. It's kind of quite fascinating, right? Amalek is... Today we don't know who's from Amalek. But there's an ideology. Right? And the ideology is Amalek will go to hurt the Jewish people even when it's bad for themselves.
And you mentioned that last time about Hitler.
Right, Hitler, right. It was Germany, but Germans aren't Germans, right? Because one son, Cherev, came and kind of reoriented the world. So then people aren't really where they're from. So we really don't know today who is from where.
Yeah.
But certainly Germany exhibited some of the traits of Amalek. Certainly their Amalek was mixed in, because they were busy sending Jews to the gas chambers way into 43 and 44 when they needed those trains to ship supplies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So other mitzvahs that can only be done once. I'm going to have to study that a little bit. Good.
Okay, stay tuned.
Excellent. So we just got Abraham's name changed, right?
Well, again, so now, verse number 3, right? Avram falls on his face,
Right.
and God speaks to him. Go ahead, verse number 4.
As for me, this is my covenant with you. You shall be a father of multitude of nations. Your name shall no longer be called Avram, and your name shall now be Avraham. For I have made you the father of a multitude of nations.
Okay, 1 second. Right, so now, right, a father of all nations. Where do you see a father of all nations?
Well, father of the Jewish nation, and of the...
Right, so if you take a look at the word Avram, right, Av means father, Ram comes from Aram Naraim, where he was from. But now he's coming Avraham, which is going to be sort of like a mnemonic, the father of multitude nations. Okay? And I'm going to make you a father of multitudes of nations. I'll make you most exceeding fruitful. Nations of you and kings shall descend from you. Right? And so now, what God is telling to Avram, right, is that right now he's taking Avram to Avraham. He's adding the hey, which is the 5. We said was the 5 pieces, and we're going to see Sarai is going to get her name changed. She's going from Sarai to Sarah, right? So she loses the yud and gets a hey, right, for Sarai, and yud is 10, hey is 5. So the yud of Sarai gets split into 2. 5 goes to Avraham, which is the hey, and she retains 5, which is Sarah. Right? So they go.
But why do that? I mean, we've learned why Avraham got his name changed, and God is changing Sarai's name, but based on what merit? Why?
Why does Sarah? Okay, well, let's come to that, because
Okay.
we're going to come to that in the text. Okay, but the point, and okay, it's funny because it's Rashi over here that brings it down that the Yud complained to God and said, "Hey, I just got detached from Sarai. What's happening with me?" And God says, "Don't worry about it, because when Joshua, first his name was Hoshea, and God changed his name from Hoshea to Yehoshua, to Joshua, that Yud goes and becomes part of Joshua's name."
I didn't realize that Joshua had his name changed.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so now,
verse 6.
verse 6.
I will make you most exceedingly fruitful, and make nations of you, and kings shall descend from you.
Right, what are the nations? So nations are Israel and Edom. Right, Esau. Right, Esau, we'll call Western civilization today. Right, they all come from Avraham.
Now, when you say Edom,
Yeah.
is that different than Ishmael?
Yes.
Is that Islam?
That's different. Yeah. Yishmael is Yishmael. Yishmael already was born. So this is not getting news that he's going to have Yishmael. He already had Yishmael.
I see.
Right? So Yishmael is...
But he doesn't know that God is going to make Ishmael a great nation until next verse.
Well, Yishmael is known as going to become great, right? Hagar was certainly told that.
Okay.
Right? So, but now let's see what it says.
Okay. Verse 8. And I will give to you and to your offspring after you the land of your sojourns, the whole of the land of Canaan. And we know that Canaan today is Israel.
Correct.
Okay.
But all of it means, right, Canaan is much bigger than what Israel is today.
Okay. Do we ever learn it would be in the
Well, we had
Joshua where we would learn.
No, because we know it back in the covenant of the parts, right? It's told the land of the 10 nations, right? That it's going to go from the Tigris, Euphrates, all the way to the Mediterranean, right? It goes way north, right? Then it goes somewhere into the middle of Egypt, right? So, actually,
And was that the land that Joshua was supposed to conquer?
well, Joshua was given the land of the 7 nations, not the land of the 10 nations. In times of the Messianic era, we're going to get the land of the 10 nations.
Okay. It's going to make a lot of people very happy. Okay, Thank
It
you.
will. We'll be able to have some Texas scrubland there.
Yeah,
I
there
guess.
you go.
Right, and so here God promises, right, again, Avram, right, that this is the covenant that you're going to get, even though he already promised him, right, in the covenant of the parts that you're going to get the land of Israel. Here he goes and reiterates, right, that through the mitzvah of circumcision, that's going to be the merit to get the land of Israel.
As an everlasting possession, and I shall be a God to them.
Right.
Just to finish that.
Good.
Okay. Verse 9.
Verse 9.
God said to Abraham, "And as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and your offsprings after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and that shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. And at the age of 8 days, every male among you shall be circumcised throughout your generations. He that is born in the household, or is purchased with money from any stranger who is not of your offspring, he that is born in your household or purchased with your money shall surely be circumcised. Thus my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant." So let me ask you, if the newborn child has a medical issue, are there circumstances that can prolong the 8 days?
Yes, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't do it if it's dangerous. Is
that detailed somewhere in the...
Oh, yeah, in the Talmud. Talmud has a lot of detail on it. Like now we say, like if a bilirubin, if the baby's yellow, we wait till the baby is healthy. The baby, God forbid, is sick. You have to wait until the baby gets healthy before you do it. And the Talmud says there are even people that can't get circumcised. Somebody had a brother, two brothers that died by circumcision when they were circumcised, and we don't do it.
That has happened?
That has happened.
I mean, it's got to have happened enough for it to actually be delineated in the Talmud.
Right. And somebody wanted to propose that maybe it was because they had a problem with clotting, and the baby just bled it didn't clot properly. But there are cases. Read verse 14.
"An uncircumcised male, the flesh of whose foreskin shall not be circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from its people. He has invalidated my covenant."
Wow. Right?
So can that can be reversed by performing a circumcision?
Correct. Right. And this is actually, it's quite interesting. There are, I think, 34 commandments that the punishment is getting your soul cut off. Okay? 32 of them are by transgressing negative commandments. Don't do something, and you get up and you do something. Right? You get up and you defy God. Right? By getting up and defying God, at that point in time, right, that's when you get your soul cut off. But there are only 2 positive commandments that when you get up and do it, when you get up and you don't do it, a sin of omission, you get your soul cut off.
This being one.
And a sin of omissions is always considered less, because it's not that you're actually getting up and defying God right? But it's just you're lazy, right? Or you didn't do it, right? And so at that point in time, when you go ahead, when you go ahead and you don't do something, there are only 2 commandments where you get your soul cut off. One is circumcision. The second one is not bringing a Paschal lamb on Passover. Not eating from the Paschal lamb.
Not eating from it, because if you don't bring it, but your family or your extended group brings it, that still counts.
Then you have to be part of it. You have to, right? Why? Because eating from the Paschal lamb, though these 2 commandments are sort of like the inherent, like just the piece of connection to the Jewish defining of the Jewish
So
people.
I have a problem with that, Rabbi.
Yes.
Should it not be the parents of the child who's not circumcised has their soul cut off?
Ooh.
Not the child, as we've talked about in previous episodes.
Very good. So the answer is you do not get your soul cut off when you're 9 days old and your parents haven't circumcised you. Right? What happens is parents are obligated to circumcise their child. Very important. Circumcision has to happen on the 8th day going forward. So if you do it on day 3 in the hospital, that's not called circumcision.
Oh, even if that 8th day falls on Shabbos.
No. I said if 3 days. If you do
No. But I'm sorry, I'm qualifying. You said it has to be done on the 8th day, even if the 8th day falls on Shabbos.
Correct, which is interesting.
What if it falls on Yom Kippur?
You still do it
Okay. Is there any exception
on the 8th day? Yes.
Oh, there is.
Yes. And that is if it's a C-section, then if the 8th day falls on Shabbos, the C-section was done on Shabbos, you wait till the following Sunday. So you wait till the 9th day to do the circumcision.
Interesting.
Okay, so it's the 8th day of a regular normal birth.
Yeah.
Right. So then at that point in time, then you go ahead and then you do the circumcision.
Unless, as you said a moment ago, there's extenuating medical
circumstance, right? And obviously you wait until the baby is healthy.
But so let's come back to, it's really the obligation of the parents.
Right, because at 8 days old, you're not. Now let's say there are no parents. Let's say the parents are AWOL. Let's say the parents have died, passed.
Yeah, they're in a car accident.
Right, or let's say the baby gets separated. So then becomes the obligation on
the child.
No.
No?
On the Bezdin, the Jewish court of that area. Now, let's say they don't do it. So then ultimately the child, when he grows up, has to get circumcised. And some of the greatest today, it's what we call Mesiras Nefesh, like giving up of your soul, like really doing something that's tremendously hard. A lot in America, at least when we were growing up, certainly circumcision was the norm, right? Everyone got circumcised, but in Russia it was not, and a lot of the Russians that came to America were not circumcised.
The Russian Jews
that came were not circumcised in Israel, and they were circumcised in themselves at 40, 50, like that was incredible. You could see the desire to be part of the Jewish people was so great that they just wanted that they said, go circumcise, we want to.
Okay, so what happens following your scenario of a Jewish boy that gets circumcised on day 3?
Right, so then he's not considered to have been circumcised, and therefore at that point in time, now he no longer has a foreskin because the foreskin has been removed. You don't take off any extra. But at that point in time, you would go to the mole, and the mole would go ahead and would, we call a pinprick, right? We just
draw a ceremonial blood.
And that would be considered the circumcision.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Because a lot of people, they don't know that, and they make that mistake nowadays. Right? In the hospital, they said, yeah, we'll take care of it. It's easy, They just go ahead and they just,
So what happens if a doctor in the hospital does the physical circumcision on the 8th day,
right?
Out of dumb luck, with no rabbi, no prayers.
Right.
Is the baby circumcised?
And then again, I think they would still do the pinprick.
They would.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, as in all cases, ask your LOR, your local Orthodox rabbi, to.
Well, I remember when you conducted a mission to Israel, and our tour guide, who was clearly living an Orthodox Torah life, found out that his mother wasn't born Jewish, and so therefore he wasn't, and he had to, at an adult age, go through a circumcision. His conversion was, I think, done in hours because he had been living.
Right.
Interesting.
And that's what it is, right? So you go ahead and you do that. it's one of those conversations you go, Mom, okay, tell me the truth. Did
I go through a
was I
religious...
born or was I adopted? And by the way, you should know, when, I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago, when Ancestry.com and like all that stuff became the rage, it brought up some very uncomfortable questions.
Okay, I think it was not last Shabbos, but perhaps the Shabbos before, during the learner service, you alluded to the fact that there were certain male Jews that were born without a foreskin. Can
Yes.
you expand on that a little?
Yeah, there's a few people that were born without a foreskin. And I recently heard somebody nowadays was also.
So does that represent a certain level of perfection?
It's a good question. Moses was one of those people born without a foreskin. Right, who was born circumcised.
So did he have to go through still the ritual?
Yes. Yeah, because it's entering into the covenant. Right? And so you have to...
But he probably didn't do it on the 8th day because he was living in Pharaoh's house.
No. Remember, he didn't go to Pharaoh's. He was the first 3 months of living in his parents' house. Because he was born 3 months early.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, it's it's interesting. Like,
do those people hold any special regard within the Jewish faith because they were born without a foreskin?
Right. That's
obviously Moses did, but
right. So there's a Tanchuma 9:7 or Avos Rab Nassan 2:5. Okay, now we have to make sure that the 13 people that were born circumcised: Adam, Shes, Enoch, Noach, Shem, Terach, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Samuel, David, Isaiah, and Jeremiah.
Quite the list.
Right, and he says, Rashi in Genesis chapter 30 verse 11 says that God was born circumcised.
And who's God?
God is one of the 12 tribes.
Okay, leader of the 12 tribes.
One of
the sons of Jacob.
One of the sons of Jacob, right?
Okay.
Right, so that and so those are, it's an interesting list. Like, nothing like sort of like just jumps out at me about that. That it is. Right.
Okay. So are we on like 13 or 14?
Okay, so now, right, okay, it's good. So it's very important, right? So, and it's not a big deal to, if somebody was circumcised in the hospital or was done by the doctor, was done before day number 8, and it's a very simple procedure, like it's like to go ahead and to get.
And I guess the key is to have it done before you die.
Right. Correct. Like that's right, because you want to return your body in complete. You want it, and being complete means being circumcised. So if you're not, you want to make sure that
which for the uninformed, it does pose a bit of an oxymoron that by removing something, it is the act of completion.
Correct.
You would normally think it's the other way around.
Correct. And when we talked about, right, that why did God create us like this? If God creates perfect, why did He create us with a foreskin? He should have created us without a foreskin because He creates perfection. So we should be perfect. And we talked about, right, that the idea is that we are partners with God in the creation. So He created us with the foreskin so that He could go ahead and that He could remove the foreskin. Right? That was right. That was why God was going ahead and doing this. Right? And so we go ahead and now we have Right. So now we go ahead and now we have that where we get circumcised. Okay, and so that's really right. This is a sign. Now I will tell you something interesting. Right, because when you get circumcised, you're 8 days old. So how much choice do you really have in the circumcision?
None.
So why it's such a powerful mitzvah? Why are you getting it done when you have no choice?
Well, that's why I thought the benefit or negative of the mitzvah should be on the parents, because it's really their mitzvah. I mean, you know what I mean? It's their action,
right,
that is either denying or facilitating the circumcision.
Right.
But yet you're asking, why is it so powerful for the child?
Why?
Or the Jewish people?
The Jewish people, it's considered such a powerful thing, and yet you're an innocent bystander. You're 8 days old. You're making absolutely no decisions in this.
Does it relate at all to accepting the Torah at Sinai versus at Purim? One is done out of fear and the obligation, and the other is done out of love. I'm trying to equate, because the child, as you said, has no knowledge and no memory.
So the answer that I think really is, it's not just a question of living with being circumcised, but it's protecting the circumcision. It means the circumcision is a sign of godliness stamped into our body. We're a Jew. We're proud to be a Jew. That's what we are. We're Jewish. So now, what that means is that how do you protect the holiness of the circumcision? So it means you only have relations with your Jewish wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it says somebody who protects their Jewish circumcision and only has relations with Jewish wife, that Avraham stands at the gates of hell and doesn't, even a person's supposed to go to hell, he stands there and he saves him and pulls him out.
Okay, but there are a lot of non-Jews that are circumcised.
Correct.
And only have relations with their wives.
Right. No, that's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. But again, but they're not getting circumcised because it's a covenant of the Jewish people.
Right. Good. Okay. Good.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, they figured out that it's
cleanliness.
Cleanliness, right. Or health reasons or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. Fantastic. Like all the power to you. Right? And that really becomes our right? The Jewish people is that we have holiness. And you should know, I'll tell you an interesting story that happened with me. When my second child was born, was my first boy, and the night before, when it came time to circumcise him, it's a little uncomfortable, like he's going under the knife. And I pulled out the Chumash and I read this chapter. I felt so good afterwards.
Nice.
Right? Like this is where Hashem says, listen, this is what we're supposed to do, this is what we do as Jews. And then you go ahead and you do it. It's an amazing thing. You're bringing your child into the covenant of God. Right? We're saying, you are Jewish. Right? We're stamping it in. Right? And the more that the world tries to deny the Jewish people, deny the relationship of the Jewish people and God. And remember, when they fight against the Jewish people, they're really fighting against God. Right? It's really, they're attacking God. All these things, and what are we telling the world? I'm Jewish.
Verse 15.
Verse 15, go ahead.
And God said to Abraham, as for Sarai your wife, do not call her name Sarai, for Sarah is her name. I will bless her indeed. I will give you a son through her. I will bless her, and she shall give rise to nations. Kings of people will rise from her.
Right, so it's interesting, right? And I will bless her. What does it mean, I will bless her?
I was going to say rectify, but change her anatomy so that she can now have children.
Right. We reverse the menopausal action.
Yeah.
The doctors must have fun trying to diagnose her. Right? I will bless her. Right? And it's interesting, right? Because it says, I will bless, indeed I will give you a son through her. I will bless her. What's the second I will bless her?
Don't call her name Sarah. I will bless her. Indeed, I will give you a son through her. I will bless her, second time, and she shall give rise to nations. Kings of people will rise from her.
Right, so the second blessing is what happened was that when Sarah became pregnant, right, by the way, her name gets changed from Sarai to Sarah, right? Sarai means like my minister, but now it's Sarah, like to the whole world. And she becomes like Avraham is the father of all nations, Sarah is going to be the mother of all nations. And this second blessing, what happened was when it came time, when Isaac was born, people said, "Oh, look at that poor Sarah. She couldn't post TikTok videos of herself while she was pregnant, and wasn't TikTok around then." So they said, "Oh, really? What she went crazy. She just went and she found an abandoned kid and just." So how did she prove them wrong? So on the day that Isaac was weaned, all the mothers brought their kids, and Sarah nursed them all. So she nursed hundreds and hundreds of kids. Right? And that's that blessing, that she had that blessing of milk to be able to do that. But to show the world that it was truly that she had a child. And I'll tell you something cool. The Zohar says that all those descendants of those children that nursed from Sarah got such a spark of holiness inside of them that eventually that milk, when it worked its way down through all the descendants, those descendants converted to Judaism.
Wow.
And so that's the second blessing, right? That she went ahead and she was able to do that. So Avram hears this. Now again, so Avram. Now it's interesting, right? Because now, once Avram and Sarah get the names changed to Avraham and Sarah, we no longer are allowed to call them by their other names, right? And so, right, one reason is because their old names are included in their new names, right? Just added, right, a hey or right. The other answer is that they no longer had connection to those past names, but now they became totally new, as opposed to Jacob, who got Isaac was called Isaac, right? And so it was always called Isaac. Jacob gets his name changed from Jacob to Israel, but it's not, instead of, it's a totally different name, and they're two ideas, and both ideas still are applicable to Jacob. So that's why we keep both names. But here, Avraham and Sarah, right from here on out, that's what they're called, Avraham and Sarah. So verse number 17. So what does Avraham do when he hears this?
Abraham threw himself upon his face and laughed, and he thought, shall a child be born to a 100-year-old man?
Right. So now it's interesting. So what type of laugh does Avraham laugh?
It's a laugh of joy.
Of joy, of utmost unbridled.
Yeah.
He just won the lottery.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to have a child with Sarah, and they are going to have, right, the Abrahamic promise that God says you're going to become great. They now are getting that.
And shall Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, give birth? Question mark.
No. Exclamation point. Right? Meaning that's also, right? Like it was, it's incredible, right? Like how happy he is.
Mm-hmm. Now, I guess we'll get there, but does he tell Sarah the good news?
So it's interesting. Right now, he's told this prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I guess he tells her that your name is Sarah. Right? But it seems that Sarah does not know.
Okay. But was this a private prophecy where Abraham is not allowed to tell?
If he didn't tell her, then that meant it's private prophecy.
Okay.
Next comes one of the most perplexing verses. Go ahead.
And Abram said to God, "Oh, that Ishmael might live before you."
And so now Avram says to God, hold on, God. Wait a second. So I'm going to get a child with Sarah, and his name is going to be called Yitzchak. It's amazing. What about Ishmael? Right? Isn't Ishmael going to stick around? Go ahead.
God said, "Nonetheless, your wife Sarah will bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac. And I will fulfill my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant of his offspring after him."
Now, very interesting. What covenant is going to be that?
Well, it's got to be the two covenants of the parts and of circumcision.
Right. That it's going to be going through him.
Right.
Right, means through.
That's a key line because that's often misunderstood.
Right, because people don't say, well, they say, what about Ishmael? Ishmael was also Avram's kid, and therefore the land of Israel was given not just to it was given to Ishmael. The Arabs have a piece to it. No. So here God says, no, it's going to go through Yitzchak, right? Very much through Yitzchak. Right.
But regarding Ishmael,
hold on. So now also God tells him what his name is going to be. His name is going to be Yitzchak. Why does God say his name is going to be Yitzchak?
What is the translation of Yitzchak? What is the meaning of the name?
Laughter.
Because both.
Not both, because Avraham laughed.
Yeah.
A good laugh. That's why it's called Yitzchak. And also Yitzchak is because, right, he's going to be called Yitzchak because Avram passed the 10 test. The Yud is 10. 90, Sadi is 90 because Sarah is going to be 90. 80 because he's going to be circumcised when he's 8 days old. And 100 because that's how old Isaac was. How old Abraham was. So it's going to be called Isaac. Okay?
But your question a moment ago was, what covenant is it that is being referred to as the everlasting covenant of his offsprings after him?
Right.
Is it both, or is it just really the first one, the covenant of the parts?
The covenant parts and the covenant of circumcision, that it goes straight through Isaac and not anyone else.
Even though the offspring of Ishmael do circumcise themselves.
Correct.
But not at 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right, and so now it's interesting. Now, okay, just finish up Ishmael, and then we'll go back to...
So verse 20. But regarding Ishmael, I have heard you. I have blessed him, will make him fruitful, and will increase him most exceedingly. He will beget 12 princes, and I shall make him into a great nation. But I will maintain my covenant through Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year.
Wow. Right? So again, very clearly.
Yeah, he lays it out.
Hmm.
He lays it out very clearly.
Yeah. That's what happens. Right? That it's going to be through Yitzchak and through the Jewish people.
And so, how old is Isaac at this point?
Isaac isn't born.
I'm sorry. Ishmael.
Ishmael at this point is 14.
Okay, so he's still...
Or 13.
He is still a wild person.
Yeah.
So that has to give...
And remember, at 16, he's going to be kicked out because he's so bad.
Yeah, so this has to be giving Abraham some consternation.
Well, why does Avram so strong that Ishmael should still be sticking around? Right? He says, what about, make sure Ishmael sticks around? What do you mean? Look what Ishmael's going to do to the Jewish people. Why is he so interested in Ishmael sticking around?
Fatherly attachment?
Remember, everything he does is cosmic in nature.
He knows Ishmael's role in the future, or the descendants of Ishmael are important to the Jewish people.
Ah, very good. Excellent. How?
How? Either by providing to the Jewish people something that they're lacking, or taking away something that they have that they shouldn't have.
So it's interesting. So Ishmael has two things. Ishmael is the only nation in the world that has God's name in it besides the Jewish people. Yisrael, Aleph Lamed is God's name. Yishmael. Yishmael, Yishama Kel. God's name will be heard. That Yishmael's job is that they are so cruel, even crueler than the Edomites, that they will cause the Jewish people so much pain that they will cause the Jewish people to come back to God. Okay?
Good.
Now, why does Avraham say Yishmael make sure they stick around? So the answer is like this. There are 4 exiles the Jewish people are going to go through. Egypt is called the master one, so it's not one of the 4, but it's Babylonia, Persia, Greek, and Rome. But in order to get out of Rome, which is Edom, which is really Esau, when Jacob gets the blessings that belong to him, Isaac tells Esau, that if the Jewish people are not perfect, you have the right to overthrow the Jewish people and to rebel and to take over. So the whole time we are in this 4th exile, and it's been a very long time, as long as Jewish people aren't perfect, Edom is sitting pretty because Isaac gave him the right to control the Jewish people. And Abraham was afraid that we'll never be able to be perfect. So he said, have Ishmael stick around. Because Ishmael, if at the end of the Edomite exile, the Jewish people still aren't perfect and the time for redemption has come, Ishmael will take over Edom, and we're very cruel. We'll cry out to God, and we will be redeemed. Because to get out of Ishmael, we don't have to be perfect. Because only the blessing was only given to Esau that the Jewish people have to be perfect.
Interesting.
So Avram desperately needs Ishmael to stick around for the cosmic event of the Jewish people getting out of the 4th and final exile.
Wow.
And if you take a look in the world we're living in today, Ishmael really has taken over Edom. Right? Europe already is Islam, or is like they're right there. Right? And so what happens is, so now the Jewish people, now we are under really Edomites or Ishmaelites, and therefore we don't have to be perfect, and therefore we can still be redeemed.
Nice. Wow.
Verse 21.
Verse 21. But I will maintain my covenant through Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year.
By this time next year, right? Okay. Right.
And when he has finished speaking with him, God ascended from upon Abraham. Then Abraham took his son Ishmael and all those servants born in his household and all those he had purchased for money, all the male members of Avram's house, and he circumcised 99 years old. Just a sec.
No. And he circumcised the flesh of the surpluses on that very day, as God had spoken to him.
Okay.
And the Hebrew, it says, Be'etzem hayom, is in the middle of the day, high noon. He wanted to make sure the entire world would see it. Right? He wasn't embarrassed, and he wanted the whole world to know. He wasn't afraid of the non-Jews, he wasn't afraid of the jokers, wasn't afraid of his enemies, right? Right? That said we would have stopped him, but he went ahead, and at high noon he went ahead and he circumcised him.
Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised on the flesh of his supersage.
Right. Now it's interesting, right? It says when he, right, and what happened was that when it came, Avram circumcised everybody, and when it came time to circumcise himself, Avram sort of got a little nervous, like a little shaky. Maybe I'm not going to do it right. And God came along and helped steady Abraham's hand, right? That together with him, right? And that's what we say every day in davening. We say, "V'choris imoy hebris." Like God, right, did, right, with him the circumcision.
Because from a strategic standpoint, if somebody wanted to attack, that would be the time.
Right. Okay, go ahead. Verse 25.
And his son, Ishmael, was 13 years old when he was circumcised on the flesh of his surplusage.
Right.
On that very day was Abraham circumcised with Ishmael his son, and all the people of his household, born in his household, and purchased for money from a stranger, were circumcised with him.
Right? 99. Avram was 99. Ishmael was 13 years old. They go ahead and they circumcise themselves. High noon, the entire world should see.
And that ends that chapter.
Yes. Now, just one more thing. It's interesting. There's one other part of the body. The Hebrew word is orlo, like a surplusage, like extra. What else has an orlo? So the Torah refers to the orlo of the heart, the surplusage of the heart, right? That we have a covering to the heart, and our job is to go ahead and also to circumcise our heart and make our heart open to hearing the words of the Torah. Wow, a lot of ground we covered this week.
Yes.
Okay, circumcision, right? Destiny of the Jewish people, the mark, right? That we are God's people. We're going to get the land of Israel, the connection to the land of Israel.
The name changes.
Name changes from Avram to Avraham. No longer we're done with Avram. We're now only Avraham. Sarah gets her name changed to Sarah. This is just powerful. Chapter 17. Next week we pick up chapter 18, verse 1, beginning of Parshas Vayera.
Excellent. Rabbi, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tom.
We will look forward to the next episode.
Looking forward, Tom. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Breakneck Through the Bible by Torch Dallas. Visit torchdallas.net for more mind-expanding episodes that will forever change how you read the Bible.